as I was reading your book, and I think you were highlighting that again, and it's actually very alive for me as well, is transcendence and immanence. That I think Ken Wilber wrote a foreword to your, or
afterword.
afterword to your book, which was really nice. And that was something that he was bringing out as well. And that is something I was thinking in parallel. And I was like, wow, I think if we did, because in a lot of spiritual tradition, not traditions, but oftentimes it's just all about transcendence. And I think maybe also we are entering into an age in which immanence is becoming more valued. And so you just can't dismiss. Earlier when we started the conversation, you were talking about not dismissing all the various modes of knowing we have, which I think connects with this idea of immanence. And to me, part of immanence, another synonym for it would be creativity.
Creativity.
Creativity. So, because I feel like part of our journeys, our spiritual journeys, is when we start, it's about self-empowerment. We want to become empowered, however we define that. And I've been in kind of studying some tantric traditions more in the last few years, moving from Advaita Vedanta and the non-dual, which I felt like there was too much of a subtle emphasis, oftentimes very subtle, on transcendence.
Subtle? I don't.
No, oftentimes, of course, it can be sometimes it can be very sneaky. When it's too obvious, that's good because that's right in your face. But oftentimes there's still a hidden emphasis of the world being an illusion.
Yeah.
And when you question that, people would dismiss, oh no, it's only a teaching tool. But when you look at the Sangha and the group think, there is this weight that I could always sense.
Yes.
And I've been studying Kashmir Shaivism, and there's a very strong emphasis on the divinity of being embodied. And that being the whole purpose of the play, is to embody the transcendence here.
Right.
And I recently heard from another spiritual teacher who is from the Latin Americas. He said, what happens if you transcend? He said, you will make it happen, and then you will come back.
Okay.
Because the way I understand it is you maximize your creativity, and this life is creative expression. So you realize I am the creator, so to speak, and then you're back in the game, because that's what the creator does. He creates.
So let me ask you, can I ask you, so what would be the ultimate expression of being fully, wholeheartedly embodied, immanent here in our human body and part of the human world and nature? What would be the ultimate expression of that in a human being?
Well, sir, in all humility, that's a big question. But this was one of the things that I wanted to bring to you, is one of the paradoxes that was highlighted in your book for me was transcendence and immanence. And for me, it's a question that I live with. I'm not sure there is an answer, but it is shown to me through these various modalities that we were speaking of what would be my highest creative expression, and then living a life of devotion and staying true to those and cultivating those. What is interesting is I realize it's hard to predict. It's an unknown of what I can become. And that is, to me, it seems like it's also true of the times in which we live, which is an apocalyptic time where new paradigms can potentially take birth. But the challenge comes is that it's kind of an unknown. We don't know what the future human potential or what the next stage of our evolution is. But the transcendent seems to inform the maximizing of that potential. Without transcendence, we we're in a situation where our egos might just make us extinct or destroy the planet. Anyways, yeah, it just seems like living with the ideal of maximizing creativity, because creativity seems synonymous with freedom.
I want to try and give a shot and try to answer, even though I don't have the questions I asked you about what would be the ultimate expression of immanence, of being fully here in an individual. And I would love to explore that with you, because I don't have the answer, but I think it's an interesting question.
Hopefully it's not a permanent satori. Forever.
So I'll start, and maybe we can explore that together. Okay. So the first thing that came to my mind as I was asking that question was that it would have to be a completely spontaneous, natural state. So the ultimate expression of the divine here on earth in a human being would have to be completely spontaneous and natural without any effort. Would you agree with that?
I definitely resonate with it, that yeah, who wouldn't want that? Yeah, spontaneous, no effort. Yes.
And then, so that I'm just kind of making, like, putting some points that maybe we can connect them later, putting some dots, maybe we can connect them later, or maybe not. I think another dot I want to put is that it has to do with wholeness, or full integration of all aspects of who that individual is. So from the divine, from their connection to the divine, to their relationship to food and to their children and to their enemies, the way they carry themselves, the tone of their voice, how they respond when somebody scratches their car, all that would have to kind of be one united, integrated whole. And maybe a third dot. So the third dot that I want to put is their effect on other people. So there would be something in their presence and in their availability for other people that would be incredible. Very different from, the self-preoccupation that I think most of us are suffer from.
Yes.
If one can be fully present, available for other people, fully integrated, spontaneously and naturally without effort, that would be a pretty good, I think that's kind of gives us some sense of what immanence would be, right? Or at least in my, yeah.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Actually, as you were speaking, Amir, I felt like it was certain spiritual teachers' images were flashing in my mind, who seem to be embodying those qualities that you speak of. And I think that's what happens with our, the ideals that we have, some of which you highlighted. The teacher is actually an embodiment of those ideals, or at least some of them.
Right.
Yeah, this theme of integration, of harmony with the whole, not projecting the body or the relative level and just going for the absolute. Another thing that came to me was fearlessness. Being ready to die, or just being dead. You're alive because you're already dead.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, can I put another dot on
Yes.
the sketchboard,
Yeah.
which is love.
Yeah.
And well, I think love kind of, maybe love is the line that connects all the different dots.
Mm.
It's that substance, intangible substance, that brings everything together, the divine, the human, nature, the cosmos, other people, all different aspects of who we are. That's kind of the glue that makes it all one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I'm using a metaphor. Of course, love is a word and it's a metaphor for something, but
I was just excited to, it triggered an excitement in me to just jump in with you on the subject of love and love in our spiritual journeys. Yeah, and a quote came to my mind from the Kashmir Shaiva tradition, is that love is the most kind of supreme force. I'm just paraphrasing it. And even love does not know what love is. I don't know if it's an answer, but it makes it even more profound.
Right.